Episode Ground with JLE L.L.C, where we treat you like family. That's the thing. I only trade love off my first album, JLE Experience. I own the music and copyright. I'm muting on Facebook. Always got to say that. In season 12, we got another amazing guest for you. We have personal trainer, marketing event supervisor at ESPN L.A. and Good Karma Brands, Nathan Miller. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you for having me. Love your content. Love what you do, and thanks for the opportunity.
I appreciate it. Need more reach out there in Cali, baby.
Definitely.
Hey, check out the middle ground, man. That's all right. First question: what led you to this path?
Yeah, so my path actually was completely unexpected. Coming out of high school, I transferred right into Cal State Long Beach.
Okay.
But I still didn't know what I wanted to do. I feel like I didn't really have my passion. I didn't really have one. I was, and then obviously was feeling anxious all the time because, everyone I knew, all my friends, they had the answers. They knew what they wanted to do. I'm gonna go get my MBA. I'm gonna go into law school, get in the medical field. I didn't have any of that. So with me, it was just kind of trying different things. I had jobs in grocery. I had jobs, just jobs like that. Just around in the neighborhood, just to work. Then to kind of save some money, ended up transferring to a small community college in Pasadena, California, Pasadena City College. And at that point, I was like, all right, I think I know what I wanted to do. And then it was be in the fire department. Turns out, took some courses in there, took some fire preventative courses. My uncle works for the LA County Fire, but then again, it was just kind of like one day came and I just, didn't want to do it anymore. I just don't know what it was, but so then I was like, all right, I'm kind of running out of time here. I need to kind of, pick something, stick to something. So then what happened at that point was ended up trying to transfer back into Cal State Long Beach. And, when I was there the first time around, I don't know if it was just being young and foolish, but I guess my grades weren't the best. So I was barely at that threshold to be able to be allowed back into the university. And ended up getting back in, and then things all worked out. Pretty much took stuff serious. I went back in as a kinesiology major. What led me to kinesiology was just growing up. I was really, really overweight. Had a lot of the health stuff that comes with that. High cholesterol. I love playing basketball, but all the repeated jumping with that. Terrible for my knees. So it was just that, and just it's one thing to go to a doctor and be told as a kid, like, all right, every time you go to a party, anytime you're out, you can't eat what all the other kids are eating. You have to pretty much, you're dieting the whole time, and it's hard to just stick to that and adhere to that. And I really commend my parents for being able to go with me to those appointments and provide me the direction. But to actually make a change, I had to take it in my own hands and self-teach a lot. YouTube was like my best friend at the time.
Okay.
So try to figure out what was going to work for me. I joined cross country and track at my high school, ended up liking it. And I think it was at that point where I really found that, fitness was something that I wanted to, grow in that industry. Had been trying to get a gym job from just since I started working, and I got an interview at a few places, but they never, moved me on to the next level. Until right before the pandemic. So it's early 2020s. They're like, I just got hired at a 24-hour fitness in Pasadena, and then we had the big shutdown, so I couldn't even work. So that was great, but I was fortunate enough to be brought back after they allowed us to reopen and stuff. So that was great, but I was only working in the sales side, and then pretty much had been with 24-hour fitness for the longest time. Eventually moved into training, and then just on a whim one day I saw they had applications open for an internship with ESPN Los Angeles. I had been a long-time listener. I love the station. I love the different programs we have on there. Was familiar with the station, even shows that, weren't in the rotation anymore. I just had a good background knowledge of that. But I didn't really have any, experience in sports media or anything like that. So I pretty much just went into it with just not really expecting much. And then surprisingly, they brought me aboard for the internship. And just kind of have grown from there. And then they finally brought me on as a member of the team. And I've just been fortunate every day to be able to be around the great people that are there and do what we do.
Yeah, I forgot there's around. I used to listen to their podcast working afternoons, getting my degree as a janitor. And they had a lot of great content. And when the Lakers stunk, oh man, they will ever have it.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Just seeing how like all of the content has changed. But it's I think the thing that kind of still surprises me to this day is having been with ESPN LA for since the internship began, which was like May 2023.
Hmm.
That's when the internship started up until now to actually like being on the team. It was like the other interns I'd come in with, they all had some like pretty good skin in the game. They all had done some stuff in sports media, and they had the credentials and stuff. But like with
Hmm.
me, I always ask like, what really was it that made them want to pretty much take a chance on me, and not them wasting a spot in the internship that could have gone to anyone else.
But they saw something in
Yeah, and to this day, don't really know what it is, but I'm not I'm not questioning it.
you.
But I do ask that to myself sometimes because
I would say probably hard work you put in, you know. Because I mean,
yeah.
anybody do internship, like, okay, they're gonna watch like, oh no, they gonna get it out the mud. All right, we rock with them. They're
And
gonna work for it. Some people, I mean, today's world, some people don't want to work. Not
yeah,
everywhere, but some people just, I'm not awesome yet. Like, no, you gotta work at it. What does that mean? Like, you gotta work at it.
yeah,
You just don't show up and you're awesome with the 100,000 salary. You gotta earn that.
yeah, and then the thing too is that when the internship started, just all the different experiences that kind
Mhm.
of came, because when we had come in, it was like hadn't I mean, I occasionally got would go to some sports games with, like, my father,
Okay, it's
big
awesome.
big USC football fan, lifelong Lakers fan, stuff like that. But to actually be on like the court in the field when they're playing, it's
Nice.
unlike anything for
That's,
um
that's dope.
yeah, anything I had ever, like the first Laker game I remember doing with DeAndre Hawkins. Shout out to DeAndre, wherever he is. But it was a Lakers Clippers game, and I was so under the notion that we had to be behind the courtside seats. And they're like, oh no, you can go on the court. And then it's like, okay, then you're pretty much face to face with like all these players like LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and it's
Oh
just like
wow, that's
it's a lot
really
of like unforgettable experiences, with that aspect of the job. But there's just so much to it, and no days like the day before. A lot of moving pieces, but teamwork is really key, and being able to trust
mhm.
the person that's working with you.
Okay. That's awesome. We got a first comment. I don't see it on here, but I see on LinkedIn Kevin Z saying, "What up, Nathan? He's a great asset to any team."
Oh yeah, Kevin. I think that might be Kevin. Spot I work in the work with him. He's taught me a lot. He's been a big help to me
Awesome.
just in this whole internship to actually be getting onto the team, the whole process, because there's different aspects to what the internship, at least to me, meant.
Hmm.
So there was coming in, and there's a sales aspect to it, there's a
Hmm.
marketing aspect to it, and then there's also content could be anything from like going to a Laker game, going to a USC football game, or um, Angels game, and being on the field, recording players during warmups, produce
Hmm.
content, of that sort. If Lakers win, we would do a walk off interview. So they
Okay.
interview with John Ireland and Michael Thompson. Um, Obviously, John Ireland is one of our on air talent for on Mason and Ireland show, and
Yeah,
Michael
I check
Thompson.
this shot a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, Michael Thompson, former member of the Lakers,
Yeah.
father of Clay Thompson. Um, and then you're pretty much recording the player as they're asking them questions, and then we, edited it up and then post it on all of our socials. Um, and then the whole sales side, that's just partnership formulation, and reaching these agreements with all these different companies, such as like Subaru, whatever it may be, just to kind of create a partnership there. But
Okay.
I haven't really delved too much into that, so I can't really speak too much on that. But what I kind of naturally liked the most was the marketing side, and that was something I never had any experience in coming into it at all. I knew what marketing was, but just by its textbook definition, not really what it actually meant. So
Man, I
so
took marketing class and pretty much like still word of mouth on. Like, okay.
yeah, and I'm still like learning, each and every day, and that's why I'm so fortunate to work with the people that I do, because they're also very experienced and insightful with everything. Like you can go to them with any question, as ridiculous as I may think a question is. There is
Mhm.
no stupid questions. It's everything has its validity. Where you just have to you know figure out why you're asking it. But yeah, it's very fast paced. I feel like every day, uh, knowing what I need to do before I even get into the office, that's become really key for me. Writing
Okay.
everything down. I'm crazy meticulous with typing it in my phone and writing it down too. I
Oh,
feel like
that notes is awesome.
yeah. Notes app. I used to never use it. Back when I worked as a trainer, I honestly wouldn't use it at all. But
Mhm.
now that's like my backbone right there.
Yep, and we got Yolanda Jones checking in. Appreciate you. So I don't know why they showing on my end their name, but technology. We keep it moving though. Now, what are the duties of a marketing exec supervisor?
So pretty much what it is like, for example, next week we have the NFL draft coming up. So on the April 25th, which is the first day of the draft, we're actually doing a live remote event. So that's going to
Okay.
be over at Hennessy's Tavern in Hermosa Beach. So pretty much whenever, and this is applicable to every live remote event we have. But we'll be there. Sometimes we'll do a live broadcast of a show. In
Okay.
that case, we're doing Sedano and Kaplan, George Sedano, sideline reporter for ESPN. You've probably seen him on TV. Um,
Hmm.
and then sometimes we'll be there with some promo materials. So we'll go with some ESPN LA swag. We'll shoot some social content on site. There's just a bunch of different moving parts. Interact with the fans, like ESPN
Okay.
LA. One of the best things I think about ESPN 710 is just the core fan base that it has. Like we'll have people that, like, we had a day where we went to a live remote at it was a Ralph's in Orange County, California.
Okay.
And then the next day we had a we had a live remote event in Highland, California at Yamava Casino, and we had
Hmm.
people go to pretty much every event. In those places,
Nice.
it was easily like a 2.5 hour commute, and people are still doing it, and they're still showing out, showing support and their appreciation for the station.
That's
So
love right there.
that shows me, like, everything that is done, even if you think like what you do may not be impactful, it all comes together to kind of make everything work and make the wheels spin. And
Hmm.
like, this is the reason why we do it. It's for the listeners, for the people that are going to be there, the people that watch us on whenever we live stream. Just very, very appreciative, and that's something that very much surprised me, because I would listen to it, but it'd be like, when I'm stuck in traffic coming home. But but now it's like, ESPN LA is kind of like part of my normal routine, where it's like, I love the Lakers post game show that we do. So every time we have it, I'm always listening to that.
Okay.
But just growing appreciation for the different content we put out, after now being able to really learn about what we do in its entirety,
Hmm.
and then why we do it too.
That's pretty dope.
But it's just pretty much, with me, I try to just be as versatile as I can be. So just help out, anyone in any department with anything they need. Um, that's why, like, with me, I try to just be a sponge there, especially early on in the internship, but even till now, as much as I can learn every
You
day.
always learn
That's
something every day. Always.
that's exactly that's what I really strive to do. Even if I have a big project I'm working on that I'm not going to finish, just
Hmm.
as long as, like, I learn something, that can carry with me to help out with the next project that comes down the line.
Okay. There's a lot of good stuff. So anybody looking at going that type of field, in a bird's eye view of what the grind can be. Now, what is Good Karma Brands?
Yes. So Good Karma Brands, they're based in Milwaukee, and pretty much they have the rights to ESPN LA. So Good Karma Brands, they not only have us. There's also ESPN Madison. There's ESPN West Palm. There's different markets, ESPN New York, and
Mhm.
pretty much what they do is they're pretty much the carrier. They're like our like, if we're like the person under the umbrella, they're the umbrella. So they're pretty much over everything. And it's what's actually the thing with Good Karma Brands is they're the true values that they hold. So one of there's five of them, but pretty much one of them is over delivery, and a couple of them are being honest too. Being honest is another
Mhm.
one. And I think that after having learned about that, because remember when I saw about the internship, it was just scrolling on Twitter aimlessly. So did some research on the company, and learned about it, learned about the founder, Craig Karmazin. He was just in our office, but being able to meet all these people that are traveling to different markets,
Okay.
that actually means a lot to me. Because me, I've never been to Wisconsin or Madison. I've never been to even New York or West Palm. So just seeing how they conduct business elsewhere, seeing the different content they produce elsewhere, it's similar to ours, but everyone's different in their own way because every market's going to
Hmm.
be different and all the listeners are going to be different. But Good Karma Brands pretty much allows us to do what we do, and very very appreciative for all the people that work there because I know I've bombarded a lot of corporate people their email just the stuff that I got to do over here whenever we have certain events. Um, but they're kind of like they're our backbone too, as far as resources for just the company,
Okay.
policies, procedures. So they're huge help.
Man, when I was in management, my Ellis School of Business, and they would have someone that owned something, and I could see in the paper, oh, they just sold that for 100 million. Man, I'm like this the whole time. Okay, what do you think about
Yeah,
this? What do you think about
yeah,
that? Like, yeah, hey, I'm trying to get like you, bro. Give me the game. I
yeah.
ain't
That's
scared to ask a question because I
I
need
would
to know how you pull that deal off.
exactly same here. I was in the same boat, working at a gym. When I was first on the sales side, it would be the greatest thing in the world if you're able to make like a $350 personal training package sale that's like 4 sessions plus an introductory fitness
Yeah.
assessment. But now you're seeing all these deals of like thousands and thousands of dollars, and I'm just like, I've never even seen that money. So to be able to be conducting business with it, it's crazy. I hope to be able to learn more about the ins and outs of that too, like the sales side. Even though I, was a little turned off from sales after seeing some aspects of the business,
Okay.
working in my previous jobs. But every place is different, so I'm definitely interested to learn here how they do it here.
Now you being a personal trainer, how has that experience been for you doing it?
Yeah, so I had worked at two different 24-hour fitnesses. The first one was in Pasadena, California, right along the parade route of the Rose Parade that we have every New Year's Day. So it was cool. Whenever it was New Year's Day, we got it off. We got the day off because the streets were closed. You couldn't even access it. But it's been probably one of my fondest memories. It was cool there working as a trainer in Pasadena. A lot of every client's different, and when you're building them a program, talking to them about their diet choices, things like that, everything that goes into fitness. Everyone has like their why, like their story for why they're in here. And
Mhm.
it's one thing to have a gym membership and just come in, lift weights, run on the treadmill, but to actually take the initiative to ask about a trainer, to ask, you know, if I
Yeah.
pay you this money, can you help me get to my goals? Because clearly what I'm doing isn't, working fast enough.
Mhm.
So, everyone, I met some great people there, but I think it is once I got to Upland, California, 24-hour fitness there, I actually trained a client. He was blind.
Wow.
So that was a unique experience for me. I first talked to his wife because I was training both of them, but
Mhm.
independently. So pretty much he had to like hold on to me when we're navigating through the gym. But just after
Mhm.
talking to him and just he was pretty up there in age, but he was probably one of the coolest people I've ever met. He would do dragon boat racing over in Long Beach.
Wow.
So you need a lot of endurance for that. He had a pre-existing shoulder injury that caused him a lot of discomfort
Mhm.
if he raised his arm to a certain level. But we were able to work around all that. And then I ended up training someone else that had a neuromuscular disease and major muscle atrophy. So they were wearing like
Mm.
orthotics in their shoes. They couldn't, dorsiflex or plantar flex, so they couldn't do this with their
Okay.
foot. So just being able to train everyone differently. And I think it was training those two clients in particular allowed me to really, assess how I was working with people already, but
Mhm.
really take the time, even when I'm, not on the clock at 24-hour fitness to, really sit down and look at, am I doing everything I can as a trainer to help them get where they want to be? Because, those people are putting the time into me. So should put
Mhm.
even more into them because that's why you're a trainer. That's why you're working at a gym.
Do you still have time to train or you put on
So
hold?
once I got the internship, I stopped. I still have the active certification through the end of this year. It is something I think I probably will get back to, but probably on the side. I just
Okay.
would not be able to devote that much time to it, just because when I was training, I was there pretty much 6 days a week. Because most professionals, people work had like office jobs. They would want to train on the
Mhm.
weekends, and then during the week it was a lot more of the elderly crowd. And then in the afternoons, it would be a lot of like youth that were, I'm joining the football team. I'm trying to
Mhm.
get stronger. So there was just never a shortage of people. So definitely want to get back into it.
Now you still find time for your workout regimen, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's self-admittedly, it is kind of hard though when you're have to either wake up at 4 in the morning and
Mm.
pretty much where it's still dark, and being one of those people that are standing in front of the gym waiting for the staff to open it, um, or
Dedication.
have to bring all your stuff with you and then come, after I get off work. But the thing is like I live probably like drive wise, it's probably like an hour with traffic, hour and 15 from the
Mm.
office. So sitting in that traffic, like I remember it was last week, it was leg day for me. So I changed at the office. I was getting ready. I sat in the car. I'm like, oh, I think I'm finally ready to be able to, go to the gym after I get off work now.
Mhm.
Um, and then pretty much once I get to the exit where it's like I pretty much have to exit, or I pretty much stay on the freeway to go to the gym, and I pretty much just exited. I'm like, yeah, my battery's gone. Just the traffic sucked it out of me. So, um, but
We've
pretty
been
much
there before. It
if I'm not
happens.
working, then I am making it a point to get in there. It's probably like 4 to 5 times a week.
Okay, I feel you because you got to find that balance because work can take up a lot of your
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Now we reached the part we promote, market, whatever you have going on. Floor is yours.
Yeah. So with me, as I mentioned, I'm still very much learning with everything that comes along with ESPN LA, and just kind of getting into the marketing world. I know there's plenty of people out there that know way more marketing than I do. So I'm more than willing to, if anyone wants to reach out, if anyone wants to just talk about ESPN LA marketing, fitness, whatever it may be, I'm definitely all ears on that. You can connect with me on either LinkedIn or Instagram, whatever's easiest. My Instagram is NTHNE Miller. Once again, NTHNE Miller. And if you're listening and you're in Los Angeles, come out to any of our ESPN LA events. Those are always a blast. We're always giving stuff away, um, whether it be like tickets, whether it be some signed memorabilia, whatever it may be. Like I said, we're gonna have a few of them next week. So if you're in LA, go to Hennessy's Tavern in Hermosa Beach on Thursday. We'll be there. Should be there from about 3 o'clock up until I want to say like we'll probably be there the rest of the day. I mean, if you come by three
Mhm.
o'clock, you should be good. You'll catch enough of our programming, and then the next day we'll be right back there, and we'll be there from 4 to 7. But follow us on ESPN Los Angeles everywhere: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and we're always posting our upcoming events there. And then you can also see some of our social content too. Sometimes I have a part in some of that, but we have a great team, and you can connect with them there as well.
Okay. Anything else?
That's pretty much it. I
Okay.
appreciate your time. I did want to ask you though,
Sure.
yeah, like what made you, I guess, want to pursue a podcast? Because well, not just the podcast, but just like the content of it too. Because I feel like one thing I personally struggle with is that issue where you want to do something, but
Mhm.
you're you're kind of coming up with all these reasons in your head of like why it won't work or why it will work, whatever it may be. And then in that process, like nothing gets done. So like for me, just even just getting certified to be a personal trainer, I wanted to do
Mhm.
that for years. And it wasn't until I actually like one day I'm like, yeah, I can't wait anymore. So it's like, I guess what made you kind of want to pursue like this? Was it like a moment?
I started talking about doing the show in 2019 with a coworker when I was still a custodian at Wayne State. Like, okay, I watch all the political shows, the sport debate shows. I got something to say. I think I can make a cool show. It took me a while to come up with a name because I forgot that I had came up with this name during that time period. And I was sitting like, okay, well, what resonates with me? You don't believe in middle ground because Bible say yeah and nay, so either you cool or you suck. That's my personality trait. Middle ground. I can listen to you. Use your initials. Okay, middle ground JLE. They like, what is going to talk about? I'm going to talk about everything. Like, okay, that might be a cool show, but like, I'm still in school. I get around to it at some point, like we always say.
Mhm.
And COVID happened. So we had to sit down for 3 months. I'm sitting at the house like, well, there's nothing to entertain you. You got an iPhone. Get it out the mud. Just start recording. So I took it out, and the first one I did, it's on my YouTube channel too, Middle Ground with JLE L.L.C. If you scroll through, you'll see the first ones was me. I'll get it out the trunk, as they say. And I just sat and talked about whatever stuff was going on in the world. And I had my brothers on, my cousins, we talking about political stuff, some sports stuff, because the goal was to talk about everything.
Right.
With just middle ground. But then along the way, as life happened, stuff changed. I stopped because I graduated. And I'm trying to find a job. I need some money in my pocket. So I put the show down. Then in April of 21, I saw my boy mom do a gospel show with Anchor. And I'm like, what's the Anchor? I'm gonna research it. Like, it was audio. Like, oh, you really gotta get on video. That's my let's get it. So I rebooted it, brought it back, and like, okay, well, still talk about what's going on in the world. And then when I got my degree in the mail, I had the biggest Kool-Aid smile ever. I mean, I came up with a smart person name. I got a degree, so I got to have a very snooty smart person name. So I came up with Egbert von Farnsworth III, Esquire. My family started dying laughing, like, what's your name? Like, yeah, I have a degree now. I'm smart. My nose like way up here. We get Egbert from, like, I don't know, it just sounds cool. So I did like a 25-second video. Like, if you be the hardest work in the room, keep working at it, you achieve whatever you're trying to do. Didn't think nothing of it. Put it on LinkedIn. I only had a LinkedIn because one of my business classes, we had to get one. And the teacher yelled at us because we didn't know what the hell it was. Teacher said, business Facebook. Why didn't you say that? I ain't seen no commercial on LinkedIn. I don't know what that crap is. And I didn't do nothing else with it because we had to make one, make it look nice. And it just sat. Bro, after I put that on there, I just started, on LinkedIn. I had like almost 4,000 impressions, over 20-some comments. I'm like, what the hell? People looking at this? And then my very first guest, Chris Platoon, he reached out saying, man, you're a role model. You part of the New Detroit Renaissance. People looking at you like, yeah, role model. I'm from Detroit. I ain't done nothing yet. What you talking about? So he sent me his book. I'm like, okay. Like, well, I didn't think about interviewing nobody. Like, well, you want to be a guest on the show? We met up for lunch, chopped it up, did the show, and he started telling about other Detroit authors. I'm like, we got an author scene in Detroit? Like, I ain't know that. I wrote a few books, but I kept having viruses, so I said, I'm done with the author. Whatever. I do this. And he like, oh, you need me, my man, Major Shepherd L. He got a great story, got out of jail, turned his life around. Like, okay, I meet up with him, did him. Then Adrian Woodland did her, like, then I did a double back with him and Major, and they like, so when your book coming out, Jeff? Like, what you talking about, Willis? Going back to different strokes on them. Like, y'all, I mean, even you guys, like, nah, you got a book and you say you did it before, so we need that book out here. Like, I'm just talking about stuff. What are you talking about? No, we need that book. We're gonna get on your head. Like, okay, I gotta figure out a book. So I wrote my first book, Inspiration, Keep Working, Keep Grinding, Keep Praying, # Musician Thoughts. And that's when God started talking. Now, God is a bully, in my opinion, because he's gonna get his way. Use you getting your degree as a reference point. I ain't want to talk about me in the book. No, I can use some quotes, hey, you can do this thing. Go get it. Like, nah, they need to hear from your story. Like, man, I ain't got no story. With high school, like, there you go, bro. Okay, so I'm writing stuff and I'm putting like, well, high school, my father died when I was 12, so I started smoking weed, drinking, not trying to think about it. Spoiler, that don't work. Don't do none of that. It don't help you.
Mhm.
And then me and my mom had best relationship, and 11th grade, for a week, I attempted suicide. I put that in the book. I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe, clutching your pearls like they gonna look at me different. I ain't never putting this book out. Nope. I wrote it in like 2 weeks in July of 21 and sat like I ain't putting it out there. Then that's when God got on my head, and then that September, someone need to hear that story. Put that book out. So I learned how to do it yourself on Amazon KDP, put the book out. And someone I reached out to or started getting cool with on Instagram felt the same way and said that gave them a reason to keep going. So then that's when the shift changed to, okay, this show focal point needs to be helping others find their purpose. And I'm like, man, I ain't the purpose, Moses. What you talking about, bro? What I don't know my purpose. Look here, Captain. Your goal and job is to help others find that interview on all career fields. Man, I talk to people. Yeah, you gotta talk to people. And stranger danger, I don't care. You're gonna talk to people and keep it going. Like, okay. This is so me reaching out to people, that was like terrifying. Like they gonna look at my page, like what this dude want. That's
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as that. I growing up had been largely super introverted. Never really liked to talk unless I had to.
Yeah.
So even doing this, or working as a trainer one on one, having to lead a session, it's just like never thought any of this would be happening. I just feel like in the last year, there's just been so much change, at least on my end, that I'm doing stuff I never
Awesome.
thought I would be doing. And I guess one thing that I did want to say too, and you kind of referenced it a little earlier, was that it really is like never too late. I feel like it's so easy to get caught up in thinking, you need to do things at a certain point just because that's what we're so accustomed to as a society. But I mean, look at me. Most of the people I know are all done with college. I'm graduating in a few weeks. Nothing went according to the timeline, but
dude, I've been there.
there's
All my friends surpassed me. Like, man, I'm almost 30, 40 something graduate, but your journey is your journey.
Exactly, and I think that's the whole beauty of everything. It's and then me personally, I had been in a one major car accident, and that one I think really scared me, just because of that. It was at that point I was like, just as easy as everything can come, it can go too. So that I think it was that point I'm like, all right, I can't mess around anymore. I think it's really now or never as far as what I wanted to do. And it's not enough to just kind of be coasting through. I'll just get all these odd jobs and go job to job. I actually want to find stability, want to find a work to call, feel proud of actually being part of the team and stuff. And I'm grateful for all the places I've worked and all the people I've worked with to this point. But the beauty of life too is that the work never ends. So what's next, and I don't really know that, but all I can do is just put my best foot forward at where I'm at now.
Absolutely, because I didn't plan on keep doing this, but it started helping people reach out to me. Like, oh, I know someone got an awesome story. You need to interview them. Like, you stuck.
Yeah.
So this is your journey now. But I was supposed to talk about everything. Like, well, you can make another show for sports and everything else, but this one right here is to reach out and help people find their purpose. Like, oh, so then I had to research. Okay, well, I don't think I'm the best host. How other people do their show? So constantly researching to get better, make people feel comfortable. So I live by my tagline, where we treat you like family. So I want you to be comfortable to share your story. And I need your best perspective for the last question I ask everybody at the end. And humbly, I made the season 12. A lot of bad booking along the way. If I got the calendar link, but I see it as making an impact on people.
Yeah, definitely is. I do see the reception, like the comments on the different your past streams and stuff, and you can really see that even though something might be a short comment that someone leaves, the fact that they're leaving that, taking the time out of their day to post a comment on your video, you never really understand the true depth of what you can mean to them and what your content in particular means to them. Because I feel like this just doesn't happen much. Just a conversation like this, it doesn't happen often. The world is so fast paced. People want everything instantly. They want all the answers now. but to actually, take the time and, rather than just complaining about your circumstances, actively, discussing, what are some solutions.
Absolutely. And I know a lot. I've got a lot of feedback. Some like that I bring people aware of people you wouldn't ever heard of in their brands, compared to maybe at some point I get big name people. But I have been told don't stop doing the little people too. Like, well, the goal is from the thought process all the way to your profit. Because each step along that way, someone need to hear someone like, yeah, I was feeling like this, but then I decided to give it a shot. And that might boost them to do what they need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so like thankful for this too, because never had been on anyone's podcast before, but just hearing your perspective on certain things too, and it really helps me because I feel like I love feedback. I love being able to hear it from anyone that's willing to give it to me. So I'm very appreciative for your time today, and
All right.
again, just your content.
We got a few more comments. Yolanda said, hello, Nathan. Thank you for sharing good info with us. I'm not one who like to work out in a unisex gym because I work out from home. However, service connected. What exercise ref, ref, reference abs other than Pilates? You said. So I guess
Other
what
than
other exercise would you refer other than Pilates for abs?
oh yeah, so for something like that, so abs have pretty much two functions or a few different functions. So there's pretty much flexion and extension, and there's also a couple ways to train it too. You can train them for strength, or you can train them for stability. So with something like abs, something like planks, that's pretty much just stability exercise. So when people tell you, oh, like I can hold a plank for 2 minutes, it's like great. What does that do? That helps you get better at holding a plank. There is some carryover, but there's you do have to train your abs in a different way. So I would just say other things you can do from home. If you go out, get like an ab wheel, that's just another variation. It might feel similar to doing a plank. You can do variations of a plank, but I feel like at the end of the day, when it comes to like your core, your midsection, it's essentially all diet. It's you know with fitness, it's easily since 2016 has become one of the most overdone, I think, industries as far as just the content people are producing. A lot of people are saying like their way is the best way. If you want
Yeah.
like take this fat burner, take this pre workout and stuff like that. And I was one of those people. I was like a guinea pig for years, just like has like it's not approved by the FDA, but that didn't matter to me. So
Uh-huh.
um, now it's just trying to simplify everything. Less is more. Just as long as you're going to the gym, as long as you're consistently doing cardio, as long as you're touching all the different muscle groups that that you're able to, that you have the you're not some people have very bad pre-existing injuries, surgeries where they just can't
Mhm.
do certain exercises anymore. um, but do what you can, how you can do it. I would say that that's most important for consistency and just making sure you adhere to whatever program you find. But for that particular question, I would just say, in addition to planks, try to get like an ab wheel. One thing you can also do is get one of those pull-up bars that you can just hook on your door frame.
Okay.
Um, and that you can just do some knee raises first. Those are easier than keeping your legs straight and moving those up and down too. Um, get anything that's weighted. You can even probably get like I'm just looking for something weighted around here, but just do like like the abdominal twists. Like that's something you can do on the floor. There's just tons of different ab movements that you can do. But in order to get them to show, that's where your diet and your how many calories are you consuming versus how many are you burning a day comes into play.
Okay. And she says thank you. Now, next question. What has been your biggest challenge on your journey?
My biggest challenge, I think, has been indecisiveness. I
Okay.
think I think that has definitely. I don't know. I wouldn't know if it would have slowed down my progress, because one of the things I was thinking about was I'm in my last semester of college now, and the internship was for people that are currently in college or just got out of college.
Mhm.
So if I did everything by my original timeline, I most likely wouldn't be, with ESPN. I
Mhm.
either would have been like too old, where I would have been out of college for a long time, or
Mhm.
I just probably wouldn't have heard about the opportunity. So I think the indecisiveness in that particular instance helped me, but I feel like other aspects of my life, I just wish I, would say something and I'd be like, I made up my mind and that's it. I just feel like it would have saved me a lot of time. Um, I feel like not everything has to be a learning experience. I value those, but it's just like, like come on, like if I stuck to my original major in the beginning, would have been done with school. Um, but that's just one thing. I would just say indecisiveness and um, I mean, it's just more of a overthinking. I think that's probably a big issue of mine too. Making things that aren't anything into something that small things into big things. Just kind of creating problems for yourself. Myself, I feel like that's something I still suffer from to a degree. Um, but with that, it's just realizing if something comes up unexpectedly, getting all the information you can about whatever situation or whatever that is, and then kind of prioritizing it. Like, all right, is it as drastic as I'm making it out to be? Because usually it's not. Sometimes it is, but like I remember once, I had taken a car in to get fixed, and they had told me like, oh yeah, you need all this different work on it, and I'm just like, all right, well, what should I do today to make sure it doesn't break down on the way home? And like, all right, you only need these few things. Um, you know, at a time, I would be like, all right, my life's over. Even though it's just something as minor as car issues. Um,
Mhm.
but just being able to get a grasp of any situation that comes your way and seeing it for what it really is, rather than everything needing to be a life or death situation, because it's usually not. All that's going to do is just pretty much make you feel miserable, and make every day feel like a chore. And
Yeah,
life, it is what you make it. So
yeah,
being able to appreciate it and really enjoy it, I feel like now more than ever is invaluable.
that's true. And just always keep in mind too, you might be exactly where you're supposed to be.
Hmm.
Because I mean, I look at my journey. You couldn't told me, okay, Jeff, in 2019, you're gonna do that show and it's gonna turn into something else where you're doing other stuff. Nah, I'm just gonna do a show, call it good. But mentally, probably wasn't there yet.
Hmm.
So the way I'm doing it now, unfortunately, everything I've been through might have helped formulate who I am to do it the way I'm doing it now.
Yeah, just all the different experiences up to now, all the
Hmm.
mistakes I've made, all the people that have came into my life and exited my life for whatever reason. Everything serves a purpose. I feel like nothing is useless. I feel like
Hmm.
even if there's someone that you may not be connected with anymore, I feel like at a time, you were devoting time to them and they were devoting time to you.
Hmm.
So
You learn
just
something from it.
being appreciative from that, and exactly learn from them and learn from that's how that situation went back then. If I could run into a similar situation in the future, this is how I would change, how I would react to it.
Hmm. Now, in your words, what has been your impact in the community?
Impact in the community, I would just say trying to be a trying to be like kind of like a light in the dark a little bit. So just kind of being able to help wherever I can. I feel like when it comes to something like the internship, having people reach out to
Hmm.
me, kind of pick my brain about it, because they're not sure if that's something they want to pursue.
Hmm.
Um, that, or if it's something like fitness related, where people are like, there was one time where the gym I worked at in Pasadena, it was underground. It was built in a historic building in Pasadena, so they can't
Okay.
really do much to it, from a construction standpoint,
Hmm.
without the city's approval. So pretty much that gym has no windows. So you're literally walking downstairs, and there was one person in particular that fitness was already something that was a little intimidating for her. So she also, felt I had never understood the true magnitude of feeling claustrophobic. I just never thought that doesn't affect me, but it really affected her. So just from something when it comes to fitness, like everyone starts somewhere, so not
Mhm.
making anyone feel like, oh, okay, you have to have all these results, you have to have shredded midsection, you got to have the biggest
Mhm.
arms in the West. It's everyone runs at their own pace. I feel like that's how you last in fitness, and that's how you
Mm.
like want to go to the gym. It's not need to go to the gym.
Yeah, because people say the routine of it. I'm sick of going, but when you look at it as a lifestyle, that's a different perspective. And you might want to be more energized to keep going because you're going to see, and it's going to start trickling down through everything in your life for the better.
About building the tendencies and just the habits that are going to be conducive to your longevity. Because another thing I saw frequently at in Upland was a lot of people I have consultations with prior to them buying sessions. It was people that were already late into their fitness journey. So they've tried it before, it didn't work, and then now it's getting to the point where your doctor says you need to lose weight or you will not live past this certain point. You have young kids, you're not able to like play with them, because you just don't have like that aerobic capacity or whatever it may be. So just like what's that? I know that cliche saying, but the step of the journey of 1,000 steps begins with the first one, or something like that, where it's just about just begin, just start. You're not going to get everything perfect, but I mean, if it's me as an example, I had no idea what I was doing, and to a degree still don't. I'm just doing the best I can, and sometimes like you said, that puts you exactly where you need to be.
As long as you start. I've had people ask, well, on podcast, like, I just started. You learn how to tweak it. There's no certain rule book on how to do it. And someone may have wrote a book now, but it's a wide open lane for so many. It's over 7 billion people. Everybody wants certain type of content, so there's a lane for whatever you're trying to do. But if you don't start, you ain't gonna start getting the kinks out of it.
Yeah, you won't know how good you are at something because you're not giving yourself the opportunity to actually grow into it.
Absolutely. Now reach the Yoda game. What advice do you have for someone trying to find their purpose?
Finding their purpose. So with something like that, I would say, if you want to find your purpose, you need to look at what moments in your life, when are you at your most happiest? Is it when you're with your family? Is it when you're around your friends? Is it just being alone by yourself? Because first things first is you need to learn about yourself. You need to learn if you can be comfortable being with yourself, because at the end of the day, yourself is all you have. It's great to have a good support system, and those are very important. But at the end of the day, no one's going to do your work for you. No one's going to, put in the hours it takes to get good at something for you. That's something you all have to do. So first, learn as much as you can about yourself, and realize along the way that not everything, as we've said, is nothing's going to be linear. Nothing's going to be perfect. You can improve every day a little bit, but it's not going to be oh man, I have the best content on Instagram now, so I don't need to change anything. It's already the best in the business. It's that, and then also being open to feedback. I think that's a big thing too. So it's like, if you're a talented musician, or you don't think you're that much of a talented musician, but all your friends are telling you are, but you never really took it seriously. Maybe that's your sign to, all right, maybe I should devote a little bit more time to this. And it's not limited to that. It could be acting. It could be, working with cars. It could be anything. It's about trying, seeing if it's for you, and if it's not, then move on. At least you can say you tried. I think that's probably some of the biggest things as far as finding a purpose. Because I feel like if you're doing, like that cliche saying again, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. That's true. Because I myself, when I worked at a gym, I'm not gonna lie, I felt like work. I love the people that I met along the way, but
Okay.
there was a few times where acting like you're checking the stopwatch, but really it's just like I'm not happy at this point. And I think at that point, that's when it was like, all right, I think it's time for a change. Whereas like here, where I'm at now, it's like, no, it hasn't felt like work. In fact, it's like when I have days off, it kind of sucks. So
Okay.
it's just an ongoing learning process. And I feel like, finding your purpose isn't something that's done overnight. It takes a long time, and take as much time as you need. But as long as you're doing what you can to find that purpose, then no time is wasted.
That is true. So, this being your first time on a podcast, how was the experience for you?
It was good. Like I mentioned, I am not usually the most like social person. I feel like I have a lot of I don't know if I chalk it up to social anxiety, but I just for some reason like for example, I was telling my friend the other day like I've been on the court right before Lakers tip off, on the field before a Rams football game, and it was a Thursday night game, so it's the only game that's on, so all the eyes are on there. But I
Mhm.
feel more nervous to give a presentation in front of my class of like 20 people. So I think just the more experiences I get, with things like this, and ultimately I appreciate it for what it is. It's just a genuine conversation, because, like I said, it just doesn't happen that as often as it should, these
Yeah.
days. Um, but obviously, learn a lot from it. I appreciate your content and the insight that you gave too. So that's what it's all about. Just trying new things, and this it was really fun.
Well, I live up to the tagline: "Make you feel like family, comfortable, relaxed." Tell your story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Hey, you have a compelling story because I've been there with it. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Future looking hazy. And then you start figuring some stuff out. Like, okay, starting to get the hang of this thing, and you take off.
Mm,
Friends look at you like, "Dang, he ain't graduated yet." Then that's you got to start telling yourself, "Hey, your path is your path. If
exactly.
everybody didn't beat you the last one, what you got going is gonna be awesome too. You just had to figure it out a little bit long. Don't
Yeah,
worry."
I mean, one of the times I feel like I've learned the most about myself too was once I kind of got to that point training where I just realized it was time for a change. Like I still
Mhm.
adored my clients and all the people I work with, but I just knew that it was time to just not really be complacent anymore, and make actual change.
Yeah.
Where I learned the most was just driving home from work, because it was a long drive home. So just
Mhm.
sometimes I would just drive in silence and just think. And I feel like it was those moments really helped me be like, all right, you know, if I what are my options here? What are the different, and that plays into overthinking a little bit. It's
No, but
all
those
right.
are the best conversations with yourself to be honest. Okay, it is doing for the next 2 years. What are other options? We need to start
Mhm.
finding something because we don't like this. And if you can't be that honest with yourself, you can't do it with nobody else. So when you do it with you, that's going to trickle down to everything else you do because you'll be comfortable in your skin to be that honest about whatever it is you're going through. Because a lot of people today seem like they're not really communicating. They're talking, but they're not really putting everything on the table and really figuring some stuff out.
Yeah, it's very superficial. It's very on the surface, and
Mhm.
it's very like one thing that when I worked in grocery, they would always say like your customer service voice. It's like your like oh, let me check if we have that in the back for you. The way you would talk to like just your
Mhm.
everyday customer. You're not talking to them how you really would. Um, and it's like, and that's a whole different like
Yeah,
linguistics conversation, but
yeah,
it's to be able to be yourself regardless of where you're at. I think once you reach that point, then I think like you're pretty set, because if you
yeah.
can be yourself, talking with your family, talking with your friends, and then also too in like a meeting of people that you've never met before, it's you're comfortable, and then nothing can no social stuff can knock you off your game, and then you can just focus on whatever is at hand.
Like this was terrifying to do this live. Oh Lord.
Oh, like, yeah.
First
Yeah,
one, I was horrified. Oh my God, they're looking at me.
yeah,
Well, Kobe, my boy, you shaking off my mentality. You gotta do the work. The guy gonna slap you if you don't. So you ain't got no option in this. You gotta help the people. Get to it.
yeah, absolutely.
I definitely thank you for sharing your story. You're always welcome back. If you ever want to come on the sports show, new season start back next week. Talk some smack about sports. Welcome to that. And I have a social conversation show. We talk about everything. You ever want to get on there? You're welcome to that as well. Part of the middle ground
Absolutely.
family. You
Yeah,
know,
definitely. I'm definitely interested in that. It'd be nice to see kind of like I feel like you said, which is how conversation never really happens much these days. It's almost like you're talking about like the Lakers, all right. Oh man, they played bad last night. Yeah. What's the problem? Oh, Darvin Ham. and then they just like leave it at that. I just feel like one thing we had on the Lakers post game show is they would take callers, and every time one thing I noticed was that everyone would call in and they would complain, but then it's like when our host Beto Duran, how do you fix it? All right, what's the solution? And they can't give you any solutions. So it'd be interesting to actually be on a where there's some discourse that is actually like, all right, these are the solutions, and not just people screaming into their phones.
Now this is the flagship. So you're gonna get Don Perry on first class treatment, all that sports show. We talking smack because I'm a Laker fan, and I'm like, dude, you got this dude Anthony Davis who's a monster that don't want to play like a monster half the time. And you got LeBron James who's amazing at his age, but you still old, bro. Y'all keep making to the play in. These are some of the issues on this team. Ain't always the coach.
Yeah, it's they want to just boil it down to that. I think that's just because of his he doesn't have like the cachet that other head coaches have, like someone like Popovich or Eric Spoelstra. But like you said, I agree with you. There's way more issues.
It ain't just him. Yeah. There's more than that. They don't play defense all the time. I mean, the games when LeBron didn't play, they seem to play better, which was weird. So I'm like, okay, do they feel, oh my God, I'm with LeBron? Because sometimes that happens. You have amazing talent. Still got to play your game.
Yeah, it's like sometimes they'll quiet quit, where it's like people find out like, all right, I'm not in line for a promotion, or they're letting me go, kind of like right before the trade deadline. It's like, all right, I'm just going to be out here.
I heard team. I'm just out here like, you still do your job, be professional.
Yeah, like I'm just out here just going to get cardio and go home.
Oh, yeah. So, and my co-host is amazing, but she got some crazy takes. So you'll definitely have fun watching her being a guest on the sports show.
But yeah, again, I thank you. And I look forward to, more of your middle ground and sports podcast and the social cast that you also have too. I'll definitely be staying tuned, both, YouTube and LinkedIn as well.
Okay. So I want to thank the marketing event supervisor at ESPN L.A. and Good Karma Brands, Nathan Miller, for sharing the story. And this was his first time doing an interview. He's gonna be doing what you're gonna see him out here doing plenty more. It's coming because you're a natural at it. Really, real easy. So I expect to see you out there doing your thing more and more as you keep growing. But I hope you enjoy your night. Everybody watch it. I'm gonna put this together and put it out. Make some clips. And we're gonna do it again next week. So I don't think I got no guests tomorrow. So I can just relax and watch some sports.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, have a great night, sir. Again, I appreciate your time, and I'll definitely be tapping in.
All right, thank you.
All right.
All right, and you want to buy my books, my music, go to Amazon.com, Jeffrey L. Edwards, or look up Jeffrey L. Edwards and all my content. Go and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Middle Ground with JLE. And you'll see great stuff. We got new seasons coming of Ground Floor and Sports Line with Marte next week. More great guests to interview. Keep this thing going. Till next time, everybody.
Detroit raised me. Detroit.